Welcome to Something Special Designs by Tina Williams, where I create cottage, French country, shabby, and farmhouse decor, all with thrifted items. Sit back and enjoy today's video, and if you like it, please do me a favor and give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hi everybody, this is Tina. Hope you're doing well today. I've got this box here that I've had around for a really long time, and I believe we got some Christmas fruit or something in it probably over 10 years ago, and I've saved it because I thought I had to do something with it. It's just a regular old crate, and then I have some of these feet. Y'all have seen me use these before. I bought them off of Amazon, and they're actually knobs. They're wood knobs, and you can screw them in if you want to in the bottom. I end up gluing them on because I tried to screw them on and they didn't turn out too well. But anyway, I'm going to put them on the bottom just to kind of dress this up a little bit. And those are the screws that you can put in there if you want. And this is very rough wood. I don't think it's been, sealed. But I'm going to take some crackle paint or crackle medium, some folk art that I've used before, and I'm going to cover the whole thing with it. And I'm not even really doing a very thick coat, mainly because I am not going to, I don't want a ton of chipping or cracking. I want it to look very natural. And I think what happens a lot, and it happened to me when I did my birdhouse, if you have a wood that's not sealed, that crackle medium is going to just soak in. So I have some chalk paint here, and this is Spanish moss by Folk Art, and I'm going to use that to just paint the feet because that's the closest color I could get to it. It's pretty close, not an exact match, but it's not going to really matter because we're going to be covering up the green anyway. It's not that I dislike the green. I really, really like it. But for what I'm going to do, I think it would be too much green in the whole project if I left it green. So now I'm just putting on a skewer. It makes it a lot easier to do that. I realized I'm always getting paint all over my hands, but I do my best. So now what you see is I've got these little eggs from Dollar Tree, and if you ever notice when you get those things from Dollar Tree, they always have all this glitter on it and things like that. Colors, they're a little bit much. But I am going to change those. So what I'm showing you there is I've got this little letter sorter that I use to hang up things, and I'm going to be using several different colors. Dixie Belle Mint Julep, Dixie Belle Vintage Duck Egg, Dixie Belle Cottage Door, and I'm also going to be using Folk Art Vintage Mustard. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to change the colors of all of these little eggs to something that we would actually want to use. So it doesn't matter if they have glitter on it or if they have texture or whatever. We're just going to paint right over them. And the chalk paint's a perfect paint to do that. And these colors are, if you look around in home decor stores and things, these colors are very, very cottage. They're just very popular right now. So I figure this is a great way to take something pretty inexpensive and bring it to the colors and something that you would want to use in your decor. So I'm taking one of these little eggs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it. And this is vintage duck egg that I'm using there. And it only takes one coat on all of these guys. It's just super easy to do these. And I'm going to hang it on that little hanger. I'm going to leave the little ribbon on there for now for it to dry. And then I will take those off later. But might as well use them. So I'm just going to paint those and hang them up. And that is how I'm going to dry all of those. And it doesn't take hardly any time at all to dry. These are styrofoam. It soaks it right up, and you won't see any of the glitter when you're done. It completely, it's gone. So anyway, I do that, and I do like 3 or 4 of the little eggs, and then I think 2 of each color of the other eggs. There's like a larger one and then a medium. And I have that piece of styrofoam for the other eggs. They're already on it like a skewer. So I'm sticking them in there to dry after I finish them. And it just goes a lot faster. Now you'll see that some of these eggs have some texture on it. Don't worry about it because we deal with that later. But even in the end, you don't even really notice it. The project is so busy that you're just not going to notice that little bit of texture. But for the most part, this goes super, super fast. It's one coat, it dries, and you're on to the next part of the project. So I think here I'm using Cottage Door, which is a really, really wonderful color. I love it. It's very much looks like terracotta. I think Vintage Duck Egg and that Cottage Door are probably some of the super, super popular colors this year, along with this, what is the purple color called? It is called Secret Path. Those are some of the most popular colors this year if you go out and look. So now what I've done is I've got the Duck Egg and the Cottage Door, and I'm going to mix up a little bit of salt wash. And I am just going to do that just to cover the eggs that have texture. This is totally not necessary. Honestly, I could have skipped this step and it would have been fine. But this is a way that if you have texture on your eggs that you are trying to get rid of or minimize, you can make some salt wash and it will cover it up completely, or almost completely anyway. So it's a lot less noticeable, and that's all I'm doing here is I'm taking the ones that had texture, and those were the only 2 colors that had any texture. I think really to me it looks like glue, some sort of like weird glue stuff that they had on there. Now they've had other eggs out recently that don't have any texture, but these are the ones I had, so that's what I'm using. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of salt wash on these 2. And the rest of them I don't really care about because they're just, they're completely covered with 1 coat. It's not a 2-coat thing. So all you have to do is just do both of them and they cover up pretty quickly. So I'm going to let all of those dry and we're going to work on my box. And I'm going to be using milk paint. And this is Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint, and it's in Farmhouse White, and I'm going to mix that up. And honestly, I never measure. I'm going to try and measure for you, but I'm not good at it. I usually always end up adding a little extra water than what they say to. I don't know why, but to me it just seems like the right consistency. So anyway, I go ahead and mix it up, and I do let it sit for just a little bit, probably a good 30 or 40 minutes because I had to get up and go do something. But I'm just using my little mixer thing that I got from the Dollar Tree. And now you can see this is my box. Remember, we put the crackle on it, and I am going to take this chalk paint, milk paint, and go over it. And I'm going in long strokes rather than back and forth. So we're going to do that all over. Now I did not put any of the crackle medium on the inside of the box. You're not going to really see the inside of the box. I end up painting it, but honestly, you're really not going to see it at all when we get done with this whole project. So I'm just going over the whole thing. And as I said, I really like the color green, but it's not going to work for the project. but I do want the green to show through. That's why I put the crackle medium on there, and that's why I'm using milk paint, because I'm hoping it'll be very distressed when we get done, and you'll be able to see a lot of the green. And I go ahead and do the inside, and I'm not going for full coverage. All I'm trying to do is just make sure that I get, everything covered. And I go ahead and take those green knobs that I'm going to use for feet, and I cover them with the milk paint as well. So now it's all dry, and I have a stencil. And the whole stencil isn't going to fit on there, but that's okay. We're going to use most of it, really the wording. So I am going to go ahead and tape off the pieces that I don't want to stencil. Not on the top part because it's not on the board. And this also is going to hold my stencil in place for me. And I will be able to get all the words in there. And I am going to use a stencil brush and Redesign's Iron Gate chalk paste. For me, guys, it's a game changer. I used to just use plain chalk paint, and this stuff is amazing because it does not smear nearly as much. The chance of bleed through is less. It's a lot thicker. It's a paste. And you just use a stencil brush and pounce. You don't go back and forth. You pounce on it. And it's pretty foolproof. This stuff works great. And what's really good, I know it looks black, but it's actually not black. It's actually a very dark gray. So it really works well with a very vintage look. And it does come in different colors. I haven't gotten any of the others yet, but I will tell you that I use this all the time, and it really is a game changer as far as stenciling goes. If you do a lot of wording and intricate things, and I also use it whenever I'm using my my other stencils. I can't think of what they call them. The mesh stencils. That works really well for that. If you've got like a, you don't use a stencil brush on that. You just kind of use a flat scraper tool or whatever and just kind of scrape it in. But this definitely works well on stencil. I will tell you that. As long as you don't overload the brush. And go up and down and just pounce. It works pretty much. It's pretty foolproof. So, as you can see, turned out perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, now I'm going to do the other side of the box because this is going to be a centerpiece, and I want it to look good from all sides. It's really important to me. So I just pretty much do the same thing, and it is all done. So it turned out great also. And this is a very uneven surface. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking my little sanding tool, and I am chipping off. There's a lot of loose paint on this between the milk paint and the crackle finish. A lot of it's chipping off, and it's the perfect amount of distress. Not too much, but just enough. And you can see all the green coming through. And I am really working on all of the sharp edges and sanding off a lot of that. I'm going over the lettering, and when I get done with all of that, I clean it all off, and I'm using the Dixie Belle the top coat, and I'm going to go over the whole thing with it. And the interesting thing is when I did this, it reactivated the crackle, so it made it even more chippy, which is more fun. But after it dries, it's not going to chip anymore. So now I just took some of my brown wax from Dixie Belle, and I'm going to go and actually kind of distress this a little bit. I'm paying special attention to like the corners and the edges, and I'm going to go all the way around and do that. Just so that the white doesn't look so white, I'm going to go over the whole thing, and I wipe off most of it. But if you don't want whatever you're doing to be that distressed, you definitely can skip that part. But this is obviously going to have a very distressed look to it. And this is sealed already because we went over it with the Dixie Belle, the top coat, and so a lot of it will wipe off. You can wipe off as much as you want. And you can see how it chipped even more, you know, when I put the, and that does happen sometimes. You'll reactivate your, if you're worried about that, you can always spray it. And I did the inside of the box. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking some black chalk paint. And this is a splatter brush that I bought from Ranger. I believe it's a Tim Holtz product. And I'm mixing up very, very loose black chalk paint. And all of our little eggs are done. Look at those colors. I love those colors. And I am just going to splatter them to try and get little dots on them for the eggs. And I really should have used like a splat box or a box or something because I got splatter all over the place. But that little brush works really, really well. If you're ever, I think sometimes when there's stuff, I bought it when it was on sale. I thought, oh, I'll never use it. Well, it works extremely well. The bristles are, they're like a nylon or something. Now you can use a fan brush or a toothbrush. That works well too. And if you make a mistake on one side, don't worry about it, because when we do this project, you will see that you can hide all that. So, but I like that it gives like small splatter easily. It's super easy to use. You just kind of hit it with your finger and it goes. So I do all of the eggs with this, all of the ones that are on the little sticks, and then I also do all of the little ones that just basically I put all the little ones in one area, then did one side, rolled them over, did the other side. And you see all those colors together. Those are just the, I mean, to me, the absolute best colors for that cottage kind of look now. And they're really popular. They're super popular. So anyway, now I have these two little bunnies. I bought these off of Amazon because I searched high and low to get the little bunnies that everybody was getting from Dollar Tree. And I even went, all over the place. I couldn't find them. So I bought those. And now I have some Dollar Tree carrots, which I think are pretty cool, except I think the tops of the carrots are not that great. I just want to bring them up a notch. You certainly could leave them the way that they are. But, you know, I found this at Joann's. They actually had a really, really good sale on their greenery. Don't count them out as far as, greenery. I mean, I think they had 50% off with a 20% off coupon. So that's pretty cheap. So I basically just pulled the old tops off the greenery and it leaves a little hole. So now all I'm going to do is I cut little pieces off of this and I'm putting some hot glue in there and shoving them in there. And I do that to all of them. And I have 3 different sizes of carrots. 2 of them are on the little skewers and the other little ones are not. So now what I'm doing is I'm just gluing on my legs. I'm just using my Gorilla Glue and some super glue. And I also put a couple dots of hot glue because the super glue that I'm using, it doesn't dry instantly. So I just want to make sure that stays. So now I have some foam. And you can get it from Dollar Tree, but I actually found that it's cheaper to buy it other places if you catch them on a sale. So I'm trying to figure out how they're going to fit in there. And it doesn't have to fit perfectly, but I want most of it filled with some of this foam. So it looks like I've got to cut about an inch off. And if you've ever cut this stuff, it's super easy to cut. And I'm just using my razor and doing around, and then it pops off. So I've got all my pieces in there. And I have my bunny sitting in the middle because he's going to be the star of the show. But I'm taking all of the eggs that we made on the little skewers, and I cut the little sticks in half, I think. And I start sticking them in all over. And basically, I'm just placing them kind of just trying to distribute color and size evenly around. I'm just leaving that bunny in the middle. Just, he's not permanently, he doesn't want to stay. Just to give me an idea of where he's going to be so that I, don't put things around him. And so then now I'm taking the carrots and I'm putting those in, and I'm putting them kind of slanted. I'm not putting them straight up and down. And I actually end up moving things around quite a bit, but that's the beauty of having the foam there. And I did not glue the foam into the box. If you guys want to do that, you certainly can. I didn't, so that I could take this out. I mean, this is definitely looks more Easter. I could definitely take everything out and then make it a different arrangement and still use the same box. It just says flowers on it. So that's the reason I didn't glue it in, and you really don't need to, but if you want to, you could. So after I put the carrots in, I start putting these tulips in. I bought these off of Amazon, but I think everybody's having huge sales now. I may have to go get more. And I did not actually cut those. I just bent those and bent them down. So we'll be covering those. If you can see, the little stem there is just bent. And I did that because in case I ever want to use them on something else, I can always pull them out. And I do that a lot of times on my floral stems. And as far as the view, I tried a million different ways, and this was probably the best that I could do so you could see what I was actually doing. You're not going to be able to see everything perfectly, but you can kind of tell. And all I'm doing with the tulips is I am trying to distribute, again, by color all around. And that's kind of how I do things. I just kind of distribute things evenly, not perfectly evenly, but, just so that the yellows, I have yellow, especially when you have an arrangement that you're going to see from all sides. And of course, I move things constantly whenever I'm doing something like this. And if you can see me there, what I'm doing is I'm poking holes in there, a bigger hole so that the tulips can go in there and I can just do them bent and not have to cut them. So anyway, after I put the tulips in, I start putting in some other flowers. I think these are lavenders that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm putting a few of those in there. I'm trying to stay with the colors, similar colors to the colors that we use, the Cottage colors, in that kind of family. I want it to be colorful, but I don't want it to be very pink and pastel. I'm definitely trying to stay away from that on this, just because that's just a different look, and I like that look, but it's just not going to be in this arrangement. So anyway, these are some other little picks that I got from Dollar Tree, and I am loving putting these in there. They've got kind of greenish yellow tinge, but it also has like these long blades of grass, and I wanted to use them because I want the bunny to look like he's looking through the field with the grass. So anyway, I do put quite a few of those in there, and I keep going. And this is a process. When you do something like this, guys, it takes time, and you're going to move things, and but that's the beauty of having the foam in there, that you can move it around. So usually after I put all the big items in there, that's when I start putting some greenery in. And my rule on the greenery is I try to put different colors of greenery in there, and I use it to fill in things. So now what I'm doing is I have glued 2 little pieces of that styrofoam together, and I'm kind of going to have my bunny on that because he's going to be lifted up a little bit higher, and I'm putting him in place so that I can see where I need to put my last pieces. And those were just some of the leftover pieces that we had, but of course you could put any piece in there that you want. I like to use the foam just because I can always take this and deconstruct it. Now I do use some hot glue in this in pieces, where I don't have enough of a stem to put in there, but just small amounts so you can easily deconstruct it. So now I'm just kind of finishing up where I'm going to put the flowers. So I am going to cover my little pedestal that I had my bunny up with some green moss that I got off of Amazon. It's very dark green. I don't remember what it's called, but you can buy similar moss. There's all different kinds. This is just you can get this in sheets. I know that probably would have been easier. But anyway, I'm just using this to cover where the bunny is standing, and I glued those 2 pieces together just to give him a little pedestal because he needs to be higher, otherwise he's too low in there. And I know they make bigger bunnies and things like that, but this is going to work too if you ever have to do something like that. So I'm just covering it with hot glue and then putting this on there. And honestly, I probably didn't even need to do that because you can barely, see what he's standing on when we get done doing everything. But I just did it to camouflage it. And be careful, have something, to put on there so you don't get the hot glue on your hands. But anyway, so now I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to glue that to the middle of our little area. And that's where the bunny is going to be perched, right there. So I glue him down. And I make sure that he looks good from all angles. And then I go in and I start putting my little carrots in and my little eggs. And I also put this is where I fill in starting on the outside, all of my my little, what do you call it? Moss that I got. This is Dollar Tree. So I'm shoving it all in the sides, all in the back. It's going to cover all of the foam on the inside, but I start on the outside and I tuck it all in, and now I'm putting it on the inside. And that is the finished product, guys. I've put all my little eggs in there. And as you can see the bunny on both sides. I think it turned out amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. He's just peeking through the tulips and all the little grass. And you can see all those colors just work together so well. Here's a side view. Here's the other side. So you can kind of tell it looks good from all angles, no matter where you're sitting. So now on to project number 2. This is, if you saw me thrift this a while ago, a bird that I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace. I got a whole bunch of them for like $5. And I am using Dixie Belle Cottage door. It's the same color that we used before. It's very much a terracotta looking color. And I am covering this whole thing with one coat. And then I'm going to come back, and the second coat I'm using salt wash. And it's not a super heavy coat of salt wash, but it's, reasonable. I like to do this when I am going to whitewash something, and I'm going to do that. And also I want this to look like terracotta. So I'm putting a salt wash on it and it will really grab the 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 white wax when it's dry, and it'll really actually look like pottery. So I just wasn't keen on that blue, baby blue color, and I knew that this girl or whatever could look good. And right now, that, like I said, that cottage door is a hot, hot color. Looks like pottery. Pottery is really hot. It's just for it, and they put like that whitewash on it. So this is now a just a grapevine wreath, and I'm showing you. I took off all those pieces. I think I thrifted it for like $1. And now I'm using some brown Dixie Belle wax on this disc that I am going to use to fit under that grapevine wreath. Yeah, so, the grapevine wreaths are, they're not super expensive. You can get them at Dollar Tree. That one's a little bit thicker than the ones you get at Dollar Tree. But, I paid $1 for it. So, if you see them, just all you have to do is take the stuff off of it. So, now that I've done that, I am going to put this on the bottom. Obviously, your round disc has to be bigger than your wreath, but not so big that it sticks out. So, all I'm going to do with that is glue that on. And now I'm taking some foam again, and I am cutting it in about 1-inch sections, because we are going to basically be covering the bottom of that with it. So I just take hot glue and I'm putting it all the way around. I'm putting it, I realize it's not going to hit every spot perfectly because your grapevine wreath is, it's bumpy. But it'll hit enough of them that it'll hold everything in place. So you want to put enough glue on there that it holds it. And now on the inside, what I'm going to be doing is I am piecing this foam on the inside. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. What you're going for is something to stick your flowers in. So now all I'm doing is I've got my Dixie Belle white wax, and I'm going to go over I almost keep wanting calling it chicken, but my bird. You could definitely do this with the chickens and the roosters. I'm going to. Really, if you look around, this color is super hot, along with the that duck egg look. Well, actually, all of them I showed you. I'm sure Dixie Belle knows what they're doing. So now I'm wiping off the wax with the rag. And I'm leaving it in all the little crevices. And it looks good just, when I do this. Don't get me wrong. You could certainly leave it like that. But I'm going to do something else. So if there's parts on there that I need to wipe off more, I use a wet wipe. Oh, and I did seal this before I put the wax on, guys. I put Dixie Belle Clear Coat. So now what I showed you is the Spanish moss, and that's home decor. And I am taking it and I'm adding a lot of water to it. I'm making it like a glaze. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is kind of a hot thing too, where you see the terracotta and it has like moss colored in it, and y'all are thinking, oh my gosh. Oh. But what's going to happen is this is going to kind of go into a lot of the crevices and cracks in there, and it's going to look very natural when we get done. And I do that, and then I take a little white wax. I go back and forth until I get it to the point that I want it, and I absolutely love it. So now I'm taking some Spanish moss. I believe I bought this, I don't know, ages ago. I don't know. I just had it in my stash, but I don't remember where I got it. So I'm just taking it, and I'm going to want kind of a ring around this grapevine wreath on the inside, just right at the edge there. And I'm hot gluing it. And I'm using my little spatula thing because I don't want to burn myself. And cutting it where I need to cut it and adding where I need to add. And this stuff makes a mess, guys, so be prepared for that. So now I'm taking some very strong hairspray that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm spraying it all over. And I did that on my other project too, by the way. I don't know if I showed you that or not. But it does keep the little pieces from falling off. It really does. So that's where our bird's going to go. Our bird's going to sit in the middle of that nest. What else do you do with a giant bird like that but make a giant nest, right? So I am taking just different floral that I got. I got some from Hobby Lobby, some from Dollar Tree, some from Joann's, some I had in my stash. And I'm just taking them, and I'm using more or less neutral colors in this. And I've got this on my little turntable that I'm starting to remember to use. I bought it, and it's really, I love using it, but I forget I have it a lot. But it really does help. So I'm just kind of spreading out whatever I put on there just to make it even all over. Because this is going to be another project that's going to sit on a table, maybe a coffee table, maybe a kitchen table, maybe a dining table. And you want it to look good from all angles. And that's the goal here. So I'm taking little pieces of greenery and I cut it. And what's really great is the fact that I have that foam in there. I can just stick this directly into the foam, and that's exactly how I do it. Now I do add a few pieces here and there with hot glue, but having that foam makes such a big difference when you're doing stuff like this. So I thrifted these for $1 at a garage sale, and there's quite a few of these eggs, and they're actually like 2 different colors of green, and I'm going to use them just the color that they are, and they're foam, and I'm going to put those, I think they're the perfect size eggs for her big nest, so I'm going to put them and kind of vary the different greens, and I am using glue for this because I don't want them like rolling all over the table, so I am putting a little glue in there for that. So I'm just going to go around and stick different ones in different spots and kind of tuck them under there wherever I think they need to go. And of course you could tuck them all in and then glue them just to, know where you want to put them, which probably would be wise, but I didn't do that. I just kind of went for it. So, and I just tried to tuck them in different spots. I didn't want them to be sticking out. So, and pretty much on the florals, I stuck with kind of white and then greenery because I wanted it to be kind of neutral, even though our bird has that terracotta look. But I don't know. I'm not sure how to explain what I was going for here, but I just wanted a more neutral palette, but yet not like black and white. And I thought the green on the terracotta bird went well with it. I don't know. In my mind, it works. So anyway, so I'm going in and I'm adding my last few pieces of greenery after I put the eggs in. And I always try and balance whatever I do. I want some symmetry. I don't want it perfect. I just want it, I don't know, pretty hard to explain. But now I have some of this other, I believe it's boxwood, and I did cut off little pieces of that. And I'm sticking that all the way around. Just pretty much wherever I see spots that seems like it needs something, I go in there and I add more. whatever I think it needs. And that's really the process. It's not, you know, I don't know. It's not complicated other than you just be prepared to move things around and add things to the very end, because that's what I do. And I'll go all the way around and just kind of look at it. And I try and look at it from different angles and think, okay, well, what am I missing? Now, on a few of these, I just add a little hot glue on the edges, on the ends, so that they'll stay in place. I go all the way around and do that. I know florists have like that little pot of glue, that they dip the stems in. That would be really handy, but I don't know if you can tell because it's kind of off camera. I'm just taking my glue gun and hitting the tips of some of those little smaller pieces that don't go in there. And that's it, guys. That is my bird's nest centerpiece. I love how it turned out. I think the little bit of moss green on the terracotta looks fantastic. And honestly, I love it. I really do. I think her bird's nest looks just great. So anyway, that's her from all angles, and I love it. I was a little worried about the green, but it turned out okay. So this is project number 3, and this is our last project. Thank you for hanging in with me that long if you're still here. This is a wreath that I bought. Actually, I bought like 5 of them. My friend and I was at a thrift store for like 50 cents, and I've never even decorated any of them. So it's time. What I just showed you, that rabbit, is a tin sign that I got off of Temu, and I know they have them all over the place. You can get them anywhere. You can get them off of Amazon. I know they have them at Hobby Lobby. I have all kinds of stuff that you can put in there. You could take a print off of Etsy and do it. Anyway, I tried to get the angle as best I could. This is really tall, so there's limited amount that I can do. So I went ahead and took some pieces of foam that were about, I would say, 2 inches thick. And I'm going to be covering this with some Spanish moss. And I'm using my hot glue. And I'm doing this to disguise it because we're going to be putting this inside that little front part. See that little part in there? And I went ahead and I wired this in because it has like 2 little spots on top, but you could just put it in, leave it in there if you wanted to, but I wired that sign in, and I end up moving it up higher actually later. But so all I'm doing is taking my covered foam and shoving it in there, and some of it will come off and I'll have to cover it. But what that's going to do is it's going to give me something to stick my flowers in, and it's already mostly covered with the Spanish moss, and I'm not covering it from the outside. You can still see the wreath, the grapevine portion of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some hot glue and some Spanish moss, and I am going to cover up any of the spots that I need to cover up so you can't see the foam, which really there are not that many. It worked pretty well. And then there you go again. I'm taking that hairspray that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to spray it really well. And it does help with all the little tiny pieces, And I usually, when I do this, I kind of clip the long pieces, the straggly pieces. But so after that, I am going to use these beautiful peonies. And honestly, I can't even tell you where I got all these. I've had them for quite a long time. I think I got some at Hobby Lobby. I don't know. I really don't know. I might have gotten some at Joann's. I don't think I got any at Dollar Tree. So the great thing is we've got that foam in there, so I can pretty much put my floral in there and just stick it right in the foam. Or stick it on the outside, wherever I want to. And of course, I'm just putting it everywhere. And, I will move these things around probably, 5, 6 times before I get it the way I want it. But the good thing is that you do have that foam in there. It makes it so much easier to do, than just if you were trying to glue them in there. And so I just go and I try and, position them to where I want them. And then I fill in with greenery, just like we did on the other projects. So I think this is when I decided I had to move my rabbit up because I was covering him up. So here's some other ones. Now I think I got these off of Temu, so I'm pretty sure I did. So anyway, I'm just covering, the spots I need to cover, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to distribute my bigger flowers, evenly around the project. And then I'm taking the smaller ones and putting those in. And I'm just I need to get some bigger wire clippers. Those are little tiny jewelry ones. They don't work all that well. So anyway, I just keep doing that and, filling it in as best I can. And honestly, guys, even after I do this, I'll probably tweak it and add more things to it or take away things. And, that's just how it works when you do this stuff. But it is so much fun. So, get some you don't have to buy expensive ones. Buy them on sale. And usually the last thing I do is I will put little sprigs of greenery everywhere. And that is mainly because there's always spots that you need to fill things in, and you can see, just kind of look at it. And then also the most important thing too is I try and put different colors of greenery. I think that makes your project look really good when you're done, if to have the different greenery. So I know sometimes that can seem boring, but I do think that having different greenery, reasonable quality, it doesn't have to be super expensive, but different greenery makes the project. So I'm just going in and filling in. And again, on the pieces that won't fit in the foam, I do put some hot glue, but most of these actually fit in the foam. So not always easily, but so now after I've done all that, I have some lace, and this is vintage lace that I bought ages ago, and I use it mainly for my junk journals. But I am going to make a bow, a very kind of sloppy bow with kind of a long tail, and it's not going to be real poofy or anything. It's going to be kind of droopy, and I am going to use this lace to do that. And I just kind of have it flopping on top and hanging down the side a little bit and hanging on the wreath. And I am super pleased with how this turned out. It is very shabby and gorgeous, and I cannot believe I've had that wreath sitting there for ages. But I hope you like all these projects, guys, and I hope to see you again soon. Please like and comment. That really helps my brand new channel out, to get people noticing that I'm around, and it lets me know what you like, and it also lets me know if I should keep making videos. So take care, everyone, and I hope to see you again soon.